Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Awthentik and The Beard. This is the Parlay, your last second fantasy football advice, NFL pick'ems, rapid fire sleepers, sit-ems, startums, you name it, we got it. And ladies and gentlemen, London is calling, and on the other line is Mr. Awthentik himself, live from London.
Looking that good, y'all. We're down by 10 points at the half, man. At least my man Saquon Barkley broke a big run, man. Defense got to step it up in the second half, man. 20 in the first half, we did not expect that. So we'll see, man, how this game pans out, man. But 20 in the first half is not what Giants fans was hoping for.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse right now. 20-10 is not that bad.
It could always be a lot worse, you know.
Considering
don't
the fact,
show up to the funeral talking about it could be a lot worse, okay? Please don't do that.
I mean, listen, I'm used to these like 20-point deficits at halftime. So for me, like down 10, I mean, I'm looking at that like win for a Washington fan.
Yeah,
but
we're sitting at 3-1. Y'all are sitting at 1-3. Big difference, right?
Big, baby. I saw when I turned the game on this morning. I'm like 3-1 Packers, 3-1 Giants. Like, what year is this? But shout out to the New York Giants. Shout out to everybody in the chat. This is the parlay. We're gonna hit you guys with a ton of information today. Super quick, jam-packed show. But before we get started, we're gonna say some quick shout outs to the lovely people in the chat. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen, while you are here, because it definitely does help get this stream out to the YouTube universe. First in the building, big shout out to JMO. Coach Taylor, happy birthday to your mama. It is her birthday day. There you go. Simon Coleman in the building says, let's go Giants. Simon, your card is in the mail. Shout out to Simon. He was one of our default winners last week in the Awthentik and The Beard giveaway on Thursday night. Make sure you guys are tuned in every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Awthentik and The Beard. Next Thursday, Washington plays on Thursday Night Football. So that should be,
who y'all got again? Is it the Bears?
The Bears.
The Bears. That could be a good bounce back win for y'all.
It could. Oh, well, hopefully the bounce back win is today. So
We shall see.
Big shout out to my homie, the Def Pile Picker, in the building. Says he is just here to hold the Beard accountable to I gotta be partial and professional and give the best recommendations to our viewers. I am currently facing him in a fantasy football league this weekend, so that is where we're at. Big shout out to Stan in the building. Says top of the morning.
Talk passe.
Appreciate you being in the building. Roman is in the building. Says go Giants. What's going on, Roman?
Yes,
Pleasure
sir.
as always.
What up, Roman?
Kai 001. In the building, one of our resident Cowboy fans. Appreciate you. Kalen Dragon 56.
Hey, what's up, fam?
In the building.
G-Man in the building. We got to step up in that second half, man.
Shout out to Tom's World in the building.
Salute to Tom's World. Yeah, and I see that Thibodeau profile picture. Thibodeau having a decent first half so far, man.
Yeah, he had a nice pass deflection. I believe that was on the first possession of the game. So he's getting there. So hopefully,
he put his
he
helmet in there, make some tackles. I'm digging it, man.
There you go. Sebastian's in the building. He's double fisting content this morning with Tana and Bad Dog on the other phone. Big shout out to Kyle Key, one of our resident Houston Texans fans. Lucas is in the building. Shout out to Lucas. Miami Dolphins is in the building. And our guy on Facebook every Sunday, James Funk. Shout out to James Funk. We appreciate you. Neymar is in the building. Do you think the Giants are still going to win? Awthentik.
Hey, I'm hoping so, man. That 20 is not a good look. And one thing I talked about yesterday on Entertainer Stream, if you missed that, go back and check that one out, was that this defense could not come out and let Aaron Rodgers get clicking early like this, man. You got 2 drives with a touchdown already. It's going to be hard to climb out of this hole, but I will say the vertical passing offense looks a little bit better. Daniel Jones missed Darius Slayton on that one. There was a little bit of chemistry issues, but if they can get it together, man, maybe we'll get a high-scoring game here. We'll see. Giants have scored, I want to say, 22 points or 21 points is the most this season, so we're going to have to up that number quite a bit if we want to hang for the rest of this game.
All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We are going to answer a couple of quick questions before we get to our top plays at each position this week in the world of fantasy football. So big shout out to Ryan H. says, quick question. Would you start Ramondre Stevenson or Breece Hall at the flex? I'm going Ramondre Stevenson. I actually think Ramondre Stevenson is a sleepy play this week. I actually plugged him in a DraftKings lineup today. Breece Hall, to me, I like the Jets. I think the Jets are, that offense is producing a little bit more than I think people realize. But I'm more of a Michael Carter than Breece Hall guy right now. There's just too much of a split. Even though Ramondre Stevenson, obviously Patriots running back, we know how Patriots running backs are. There's 17,000 of them. You never know who's going to get the ball. Ramondre Stevenson has a great matchup. I'm going to go Stevenson in this game.
Yeah, I like Stevenson as well. I mean, the matchup against the Lions, that's one of the worst defenses in the NFL. He should be able to feast today.
Absolutely. Simon, fantasy question, George Kittle or Darren Waller, two of the best tight ends in the game. Where are you going, Authentic?
Not this year. I'd flip a coin on this one. I got George Kittle on my team as well, and I think, he's been struggling within that offense. Seemed to be like maybe a second or third kind of target. Brandon Ayuk's coming up. I'm hoping George Kittle has a big game today, so I'm going to go Kittle, but you could go Darren Waller as well. I mean, they're going up against the Chiefs on Monday night, I believe that is.
Yeah, I think Authentic is right here. It's tough because both of these guys are solid guys. Both of these guys are kind of just like in the middle of no man's land as far as fantasy production goes so far this year. I'm going to go Darren Waller. If I had to flip a coin and have that option of a Monday night player, I like that option. So I'm going to go Darren Waller. Big shout out to Sebastian for the $1.99 super chat. Says, Rookie of the Year, Darius Slayton is back. Came out of nowhere. I'll tell you what. I played Darius Slayton in my morning DraftKings lineup. He's got some catches so far. It was a nice one. Daniel Jones missed him on that one, but still had a really nice catch to start the game out. So shout out to Darius Slayton. He's got to step up. I mean, I saw the tweet, man. You're starting wide receivers. I mean,
yeah, slim pickings for sure.
Yeah, so we'll see how he produces the rest of the game, but definitely his best performance to date so far, obviously, in the season.
He really hasn't had no volume, no snaps, no targets. Darius Slayton, I mean, with what we got out there today, he should be the number one guy out there, him or Richie James.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the point of the show where we're going to break down our top plays for each position, starting with the top 3 quarterback plays in fantasy football, PPR, Week 5. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Week 5 is here. Top quarterback plays. You don't have to worry about playing Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, or Russell Wilson. Listen, rough week so far for some of these quarterbacks. Obviously, Russell Wilson under a lot of fire. Although I do have a AFC West quarterback in one of my top quarterbacks this week, and his name is not Patrick Mahomes. It is Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, I think, is going to have a huge game today. I love the matchup, obviously. Justin Herbert is the only quarterback in the National Football League to throw at least 2 touchdowns and have a triple-digit rating in every game that he has played in so far. So he is definitely putting up the numbers for the Chargers. And once again, I do love that matchup. And last week, he had his season high in passing yards. I want to say it was 340 yards last week. And that was, 2 weeks removed from that pretty bad rib injury. So I expect Justin Herbert to have a big game this week. He's one of my top 3 quarterbacks to play in fantasy football. Next up, is a guy that just sits in the quarterback range, and that is going to be Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts absolutely on a tear. He's going against an Arizona defense that is just horrendous, the worst secondary in the National Football League, and he is averaging 331.3 yards per game. And my third quarterback is going to be Lamar Jackson. It's always a toss-up at this point between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson because I think he gives me a little bit more return in the ground game. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I like that. Logan Thomas is out for today's game. As far as my 3 quarterbacks go here, man, I got Patrick Mahomes versus the Raiders. Mahomes had no issues moving the ball against the Bucs. Torched them for about, 249 yards and 3 touchdowns. Left a couple of plays out there, and the Raiders are giving up 253 passing yards per game. I think Mahomes is going to light it up today. Ryan Tannehill just put up 264 against the Raiders. So I think Patrick Mahomes should have a really good game today. I like Lamar Jackson as well going up against the Bengals for a bounce-back game. Struggled in the passing attack last week against the Bills a little bit there. But he still managed to run the ball 11 times for 73 yards. Good divisional matchup. I'd look for Lamar Jackson to bounce back. And then, I'm going Josh Allen every week. That's my quarterback, as my man T.O. would say, as Daniel Jones drops back. The pass has a little bit of pressure in his face and is sacked. Josh Allen, man, the stats on the year, man, he's just been doing it all, man. 1,227 yards, 10 touchdowns through the air, 2 on the ground, only 3 interceptions. Allen is the only quarterback to finish inside the top 12 all 4 weeks this year. So I like Josh Allen going up against a Steelers team that's struggling on the offensive side of the ball, so the Bills should control the clock. And just a quick little honorable mention, I like Tom Brady against the Falcons, man. Tom Brady put up 385 last week, 2 touchdowns, looking like him normal self. And the Falcons have the 25th ranked pass defense in the NFL.
He threw like 75 passes in that game. It was insane. I think they only ran the ball 4 times, which is wild. But couple of quick questions before we move on to the running back position. James Funk wants to know Gerald Everett or Tyler Higby.
Oh, that's tough because Higby's going up against the Cowboys today. Their secondary is pretty good. They get pressure on the quarterback. I still think Higby has a better game. I'd go Tyler Higby.
Yeah, Everett's been playing very well, and he's slowly increasing his target share. But Tyler Higby is just a target magnet so far this year. He's one of the highest targeted tight ends in the league. So you got to go with volume. I'm going to go with Tyler Higby. Big shout out to Kyle 001. Says Kyler Murray or Matthew Stafford. Both quarterbacks facing some tough D. Pause. I'm going to go. Listen, I'm going to go Kyler Murray because I think Kyler Murray gives you rushing yards. They're probably going to be down. They're probably going to be throwing the ball a lot. Matthew Stafford has more interceptions than touchdowns at this point in the season so far. He almost made my sit list, actually. I'm going to go Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I like Kyler Murray in this matchup. Should be a high-scoring game, too. Matthew Stafford, we kind of need to see him prove it a little bit more. He's been struggling the first couple of weeks. And when we get to another topic, I'll definitely drop some nuggets on Matthew Stafford, but I'm going Kyler Murray.
Up next, C-Bands never stays slacking. James Robinson or Miles Sanders today.
Let's go. Slayton with another one. Let's go.
This is a
James
tough
Robinson
one.
or Miles Sanders? I like Miles Sanders.
I'm going to go James Robinson. I think James Robinson has a big day today. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars going against that Houston Texans team. That defense is giving up a ton of yards on the ground. I think this is a big James Robinson game today. So shout outs to C-Bands. Never stay lacking. Speaking of running backs, let's move on to our top 3 running back plays in week 5. Daniel Jones looks good in the pocket right now. Those ankles don't seem to be bothering him. So
I won't agree with you there, though. When you saw him roll out of the pocket, he don't look the same. He didn't try to get in that full speed Daniel Jones run. You could see him not hobbling, but just a little bit tender, Tender.
I like that. So running backs, Dalvin Cook. He's going against the Chicago Bears defense. I saw this stat when I was preparing for our Thursday night show. If you guys haven't seen that, go back, check it out before this game starts today. The Chicago Bears are giving up 183.3 yards per game on the ground. That is insane. They're giving up more yards on the ground than they are on the passing game. I don't think I've ever seen that before. A team, defense.
They have dealt with a lot of bad weather games. What I would like to see in conjunction, and I'll look it up when we get a breaker after the show, is how many attempts have been ran against that defense, because they had the 2 games that were super sloppy weather, big games. I can't remember what the first, it was the San Francisco 49ers one, and then the game against the Giants. So, I mean, it does depend on how many times people have ran against them, because when I was looking at their passing stats, Justin Fields looked horrible as far as passing the ball, but they also had the fewest attempts since 1980.
Yeah. So, I mean, it definitely is something to keep your eye out on as far as those
Is
details.
it a large sample size of a small sample size?
You beat me to it. My next guy on the list is going to be a guy Awthentik talked about last week, and he ended up scoring 2 touchdowns last week, and that's going to be Austin Eckler. going against the Cleveland Browns run defense, which has not looked really good in the last couple of weeks. Last week, Cleveland gave up 202 yards on the ground to the opposing running back. I think Austin Eckler has a great game this weekend, as well as catching the ball out of the backfield. He's always good at that. So Eckler's going to give you those sort of those 1 points in a 1-point PPR league as far as out of the backfield. And speaking of a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield, is going to be my number 3 running back this week, Alvin Kamara. I think Alvin Kamara has a bounce back game. The Saints need a win. I believe Winston is going to be the quarterback this week. Kamara is questionable. I think he's going to play. He's expected to play. I think he comes out and has a big game. He's going against a Seattle defense that is giving up 154 yards per game on the ground. So I expect Kamara to have a big game. What about you? Tell me who you got at the running back position, Awthentik.
I like Saquon Barkley. Obviously, he's already had a big run. We're in the middle of the game. If you didn't start him, you was tripping. I think that's the number 1 running back right now in the NFL. Leads in rushing yards, leads in total scrimmage yards. Giants lead the NFL right now in rushing yards per game. My second running back would be Nick Chubb going up against those Chargers. And I had the Chargers defense early on in the season. They've been pretty much a letdown defensively. I thought that they would step it up. And Nick Chubb has over 100 rushing yards in 3 out of his 4 games as Daniel Jones takes a major hit right now to his back. And he has 5 total touchdowns. So I like Nick Chubb as my number 2 position. And then I like Williams against the Patriots, man. Williams over 100 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns last week. The Patriots defense mostly underwhelmed this season, especially against the run. Detroit has the 10th most rushing attempts, 6th most rushing yards, and 2nd most rushing touchdowns. And I got to give you a little bit of an honorable mention here, too. I like Khalil Herbert again, back-to-back weeks here. 19 carries for 77 yards last week, and he had the 1 catch for 24 yards. So 100-plus scrimmage yards for him. Couldn't get in the end zone. Hopefully he gets in the end zone this week against the Vikings, who are better against the run than they are against the pass, but I don't like that defense too much.
Yeah, and Montgomery is back, but I still don't think Montgomery is going to be at 100%. I think Khalil Herbert has earned himself the touches in that offense for at least a 50-50 split when it comes to volume at the running back position. So that's going to be our running back position. Don't forget, if you guys have any questions, drop those in the chat. We will answer them as best as we can throughout this stream. We're going to go ahead and give you our next top 3, which are going to be the top 3 wide receivers in Week 5 Fantasy PPR. Darius Slayton is having a good game so far, wide receiver position. Who are your top 3 wide receivers this week, Awthentik in fantasy football?
You know I got the stack vibes with Josh Allen and my man Stephon Diggs right now. Stephon Diggs going up against the Steelers. Coming off his worst game of the year last week. He only had 4 receptions and 62 yards. Back-to-back weeks with 0 touchdowns. I look for Stephon Diggs to shine in this matchup against the Steelers. I also like both the Philadelphia Eagles wide receivers. I like A.J. Brown and I like Devonta Smith versus the Cardinals. Ugly weather last week versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'd look for them both to bounce back in some decent weather here. A.J. Brown has had at least 5 receptions in 3 out of his 4 games. And in that 4th game, he had 10 receptions versus the Detroit Lions. This should be a high-scoring matchup. The over-under was pretty high in that game versus the Cardinals versus the Eagles. We'll get to that one. But I like A.J. Brown, and I like Devonta Smith. I also like Devontae Adams against the Chiefs in primetime, man. Finally got the amount of targets and the volume he needed last week. He had 13 targets last week, and the Raiders finally got their first win. So I think they're going to go back to that formula. You should see high volume from Devontae Adams, and I'd look for him to put up some big numbers this week.
I also really like A.J. Brown. He's going against, obviously, that Arizona pass defense, which is just horrendous. The worst in the league, pretty much, I believe, statistically. And A.J. Brown's averaging 101 yards per game. Devonta Smith has finished in the top 10, I believe, wide receivers in fantasy in 3 of the 4 games. So he's definitely, having a great game, great season. Outside of that first week, he's been huge for Jalen Hurts and his Philadelphia Eagles offense. My next guy is going to be Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase is going to have a huge game. Obviously, divisional matchup going against the Baltimore Ravens, but the Baltimore Ravens are giving up 328 yards in the air to opposing teams. So I think Jamar Chase has a huge game this week. He's my number 2 guy. My number 3 guy might be a bit surprising. It's going to be scary.
I knew you were going to say Terry McLaurin.
The top off Terry McLaurin. So,
okay,
yeah.
I like that.
I think he's going to have a huge game. No Jahan Dotson. Terry McLaurin still is. He's actually leading the team in receiving yards, believe it or not, and he hasn't even been targeted as much as most people would prefer or like. He's also has the most red zone targets besides Jahan Dotson, and like I said, no Jahan Dotson in this game. Tennessee's defense is super banged up. They're already giving up a ton of yards in the air, so I'm definitely going to look for Terry McLaurin. This is why you got paid the big bucks. It's time to step up and have a big game when your name is called, and I think his name is going to be called early and often in this game. And we did have another wide receiver. Yeah, and no Logan Thomas either. Great point.
Yep.
James Funk checking in for Facebook wants to know Jalen Waddle, Curtis Samuel, or Josh Reynolds. Where are you going, Authentic?
I'm going Jalen Waddle. I don't think with Teddy Bridgewater over there that he's going to take a major step back. They got two great weapons at the wide receiver position. I think Waddle eats today.
Yeah, listen, I love Waddle. He's a top 4 wide receiver right now in fantasy when it comes to PPR. He is coming into banged up, and you have Bridgewater. I think it's going to be a coin flip for me between Waddle and Samuel. Once again, no Jahan Dotson opens the door up a little bit for Samuel. I think they're still going to be passing the ball way more than I would prefer them to. So I'm at a coin flip between Waddle and Samuel. I'd probably go Curtis Samuel in this particular situation. And Kai, yes, I do believe Gallup can be a sneaky flex guy. Absolutely. Yeah. Just coming back first game last week. So I think it's always good to get that first game under your belt when you're coming back from an injury, especially a major injury with a backup quarterback at the helm. So I think he looked really good considering those two factors. I definitely think he's a play. Obviously, the matchup isn't the best against the Los Angeles Rams in that defense, but when you say sneaky, yes, definitely a sneaky flex.
I can't wait to see that game. I'm not going to lie. It's going to tell you a lot about where the Dallas Cowboys are right now going up against that Rams defense, see if they can get another win.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Stephen White. I would take a look at his snap count from last week and see where that is percentage-wise, routes run, and the actual snap count. Sebastian wants to know Terry McLaurin or J.K. Dobbins. I'm going McLaurin, although J.K. Dobbins looked really good last week. Had a couple of touchdowns, I believe. Definitely one. I think he actually had 2 receiving touchdowns. So big shout out to, or maybe one of them got called out. So he looks good coming off an injury, but I just think Terry McLaurin has a big game this week.
I go J.K. Dobbins. I need to see Terry McLaurin do it this year. He really hasn't had a big game all year, and once I see him do it, then I can implement him in my lineup. But I like Dobbins' volume at the running back position with the running team. We know Lamar Jackson is going to take some of those carries, but I like Dobbins.
All right, so those are our top plays of this week, fantasy football, when it comes to the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver position. Up next, we are going to give you the guys who we think should be on the BENCH bench. Our All right, so you're going to get a couple of guys here from me and Authentic that we think should just not be in your lineups, and definitely you shouldn't be paying for in DraftKings or FanDuel lineups. I'm going to start with the quarterback position, Jacoby Brissette. Okay, he had a good game a couple of weeks ago, but mostly inconsistent. It can be easy to kind of ride a wave when it's high. To me, I just think that Jacoby Brissette is in a tough matchup against that Chargers defense, and I just think he's going to be under a lot of pressure. And then you got Asante Samuel in the back, the secondary for the Chargers. So I'm not there yet on Jacoby Brissette. I think he's a great football player, great leader. He's done some great things so far this season, but in this particular week, in this particular matchup, I am not a Jacoby Brissette fan. Also sitting Zeke Elliott, still just it's tough. You can kind of see how why he dropped to third, fourth round running back when he was a first round running back in many eyes. Excuse me, over the last couple of seasons. Tony Pollard's definitely taking some of those snaps, even though Pollard's coming into this game banged up. I don't like that matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to sit Zeke Elliott. And then if I'm going to be sitting a quarterback from Cleveland, I guess I'm going to be sitting a wide receiver from Cleveland. That's going to be Amari Cooper. Now, he's had some good games as of late, but I don't like this matchup. And if I'm going to be benching Jacoby Brissette, I'm not really looking forward to Amari Cooper having a big game today. Authentic, who got cut by Coach Authentic.
Well, I got some beef with my coaches on the coaching staff because you got Jacoby Brissette on there. I don't like that. And I don't like Zeke Elliott on there either, actually. They faced the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, that was a tough matchup. I think that with Ezekiel Elliott, okay, Pollard is taking some of the carries, right? But Pollard is going to be the person who I'm going to sit this week because single-digit touches in 2 of his 4 games. I think that they look to Zeke to get the volume more, I feel like, even though the yardage might be a little bit less. And, I understand why you're thinking about sitting Zeke because the Rams do have a good rush defense. They're ranked 6th in the NFL right now. So one of them, you got to pick one of them. Pick your poison on it. For me, it's going to be Tony Pollard. I'm sitting another person in this game, too. I'm sitting Matthew Stafford versus the Cowboys. And I'm just checking out this Aaron Rodgers drop back one time real quick.
Yeah,
you guys got to get some pressure on this guy, man. And looks like threw it away. Okay, so the reason why I'm sitting Matthew Stafford, this is a crazy stat for me, too. Matthew Stafford has failed to throw a touchdown pass in back-to-back games for just the 4th time in his entire career. It's the first time he's allowed that to happen since 2016. So he's definitely on a slump right now. Prior to week 3, Stafford had thrown at least 1 touchdown in every game that he has appeared in for the Los Angeles Rams since getting over there. So you can definitely see him on a downward spiral. I'd wait for him to get back into the, playing well again before you put him back in the lineup. If you got another quarterback, which you should, there's so many quarterbacks out here that you can work with in fantasy. I'd put Matthew Stafford on the bench going up against this Cowboys defense today. Both those teams going up against good defenses. And also, for me, this is sit that you might want to reconsider, but for me, it's who I'm sitting in my lineup this week. I'm sitting Drake London versus the Bucs this week. The Bucs defense is extremely solid, man, and Drake London's coming off his lowest amount of receptions all year. He had 2 receptions for 17 yards last week. It's his first game without a touchdown since week 1. And the Falcons, this was another thing that I saw on the internet here that was alarming. In the middle of that game on 2 consecutive drives, the Falcons ran 14 straight running plays before finally calling a pass play. Both those drives, they scored touchdowns. So that shows that they're going to be relying on that running game just a little bit more. I'd sit Drake London just for this week, see what he does. He's been pretty consistent throughout this season so far, but being a young rookie like that, I think I got to pump the brakes a little bit.
I completely understand all of those. Don't be mad at the coaching staff, though. The coaching staff does like Jacoby Brissette. It's just, it's not his week. He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy, man. He's good attitude, man. Good leader. I like Jacoby Brissette. I'm rooting for him, man. A guy who's always on the bench, when he get his opportunity, we can't put him on the bench.
Yeah. This is a great point here, too, from Christian Bonilla. No Kyle Pitts today. He's going to get covered all day. I definitely agree with that. And so next, we're going to go to some people who might have been taking some power naps and have woken up to become giants. These are our sleepers of the week. I always look forward to authentic sleepers. I need to know your sleepers before I let you know mine.
I got you. I was a sleeper this morning trying to get up for this Giants game at 8 a.m. and whatnot. All right, so for me, man, I got a couple quarterbacks on this list. But I'll start with the other positions. I like Christian Kirk, I think, could be a sit versus the Texans or sleeper. Sorry about that. Bounce back from last week. Last week he went throughout the whole entire first half without a reception. So he seems to be a guy who they were questioning the amount of money this guy was making. And you know me, man. Authentic ain't counting nobody pockets, okay? Christian Kirk should have a bounce back week. I also like Khalil Herbert versus the Vikings. Talked about him, and he was kind of in my running back section on the cusp. I think he's a bit of a sleeper. But for me, I got 3 quarterback sleepers. Kirk Cousins versus the Bears. It's the Bears. Kirk Cousins is a decent quarterback, and it's the Bears. I mean, come on. Kirk Cousins should be able to get off. That running game should be clicking. Play action should be able to work. Ooh, we got a challenge for that incomplete pass on the last play. We'll see how that looks in the Giants game. And then also, I like Carson Wentz versus the Titans, man. Shout out to the Beard and his Commanders one time. I'm looking at this catch. It looks like it's going to be a catch. Titans have given up the seventh most fantasy points to quarterbacks, and they've given up the 4th most points to wide receivers. I think Carson Wentz can feast, even though he doesn't have his number 1, I guess we could call it, weapon in Jahan Dotson in this game, and no Logan Thomas. Hopefully he can find a way to get the ball to Terry McLaurin. My biggest sleeper of the week, Teddy Bridgewater.
Ooh, Teddy Two Gloves.
I like Teddy Two Gloves against them Jets. It's the Jets. Teddy Bridgewater threw for 193 yards and a touchdown in very limited action last week. The New York Jets, I mean, I don't know, man. 4 quarters, Teddy Bridgewater, Jalen Waddle. This could look really good. Tyreek Hill, maybe this is a bounce back for your boy Teddy Bridgewater to go out there and go get paid a little bit next year. We'll see how it goes. I like Teddy in this matchup.
So big shout out to Simon Coleman for the $2 super chat. Says, all right, if we're going to sit Drake London, do you start Juju or Corey Davis? And the answer is going to be one of my sleepers. So I'm going to let Awthentik take this one first.
Knowing you, I got a feeling you're going to go Davis as your sleeper, but I'm taking Juju in this matchup, man. It's prime time, man. It's prime time. You should go out there and show out, man.
Amon-Ra St. Brown has been ruled active. Listen, I'm going Corey
ruled
Davis.
Active. That's a way they don't use that term.
No, you know, that's a beard. That's a beardism.
That's a beardism right there. It's been ruled active.
That's why you just got so much football going on. You're just mixing it all up. But I'm going. I'm going Corey Davis. Corey Davis is going to have a big game. Listen, this guy, Zach Wilson, is back, okay? Zach Attack is back,
Wilson
Jack.
Is back?
Zach Attack is back, Jack,
Remember
okay?
how you talked about Brian Robinson? You were like, he was never here. Zach Wilson was never here.
Oh, listen, Zach Wilson been here. Him and Corey Davis have played some ball together, and they've been looking pretty good. Listen, Corey Davis has at least 74 yards receiving in 3 out of his 4 games this year. In 2 out of those 3 games, he scored a touchdown. He's averaging 17.4 yards per catch. Definitely Corey Davis, a sleeper this week. I love Corey Davis. I'm expecting him to have a big, big game.
Ooh, that was our turnover right there. Come on, New York. Oh, Corey Davis, huh? You said how much per reception?
17.4.
Let me see how many receptions he got on the year.
17.4 per
15
catch.
catches. Okay, I like it. I mean, he has a game where he had 41 yards per reception against the Browns. It's crazy.
Shout out to Kai. Zach Attack is back, Jack, and that's fact.
Bars.
As far as my other sleepers go, to pair up with Awthentik sleeper Christian Kirk, I'm going.
Huge third down for the Giants right here. Go ahead, though.
Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is my sleeper quarterback this week. He's thrown 2 touchdowns, at least 2 touchdowns in 3 straight games. I love the matchup against the Houston Texans. Definitely, Trevor Lawrence is playing in my DraftKings lineups. And my sleeper running back was a guy a lot of people talked about, you know, as somebody who might have an impact later on in the season. Cordell Patterson has been placed on the IR. It is time to see Mr. Tyler Algier. I don't know if that's how you say his last name. I can't remember. Algier, I believe, is how you say his last name.
No disrespect, but we won't remember that name next week.
Okay. Tampa Bay last week gave up 189 yards on the ground to Kansas City.
Thank you for telling me about the play update right there. That's amazing because that's probably going to knock them out of field goal range or make it a tough field goal.
Yeah, that's huge. Oh, yep. There goes the dance. There goes the dance.
Is it Dexter?
There's a dance.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Big
Y'all know I'm a little bit
dance.
behind right now on this stream.
But yeah, so Tyler last week had a 42-yard run after Cordell Patterson got sent out, and his average last week 8.4 yards per carry. Atlanta runs the ball the 5th most rush attempts in the NFL, so I think he has an opportunity here to have a big sleeper game. And yes, big shout out to Simon. Thank you for reminding Awthentik. You say that, Awthentik, but Beard got Penny right last week.
He did get Penny right, but go back and look at the history of the parlay, how many times he said Penny, and it didn't work out. I'm at least 8 of 9. This is like, you know, the Giants beating Dak Prescott or something like that.
So
I got a good record against Rashard Penny.
Those are our sleeper picks for week 5 when it comes to fantasy football. Awthentik is getting hyped. We are going to get you guys out of here hopefully in time for full fourth quarter footage of your own game, the New York Football Giants. But before we do that, we're going to pick every single game on the slate. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Awthentik and the Beard Parlay Rapid Fire.
Yeah, we need to get a sound effect for that one because that whole he didn't care too much for that.
I don't know where that one came from. It was kind of like a dog, like a Scooby.
It did
like
have a little bit of a puppy vibe to it. Shout out
All right,
to
ladies and gentlemen.
The sound effects department was loafing on that.
The first game on the slate is going to be the number one.
Right. Let's go. Let's get this W, New York. Come on, man. Let's go.
Right. New York Giants at the Green Bay Packers. Kickoff is at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is now 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me who you got.
I picked the Giants on Thursday, 23-20. There's still a hope for that score right now. I can't remember what the score is right now. I think it's 20-13. Giants got to get it together, man. Let's get 10 points and get this dub 23-20 one time, man. Back to you, Beard.
It's going to be kind of tough. You guys are going to need a definite, second half, a little surge here. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win this game by a final score of 27-20. Green Bay Packers.
27-20 Green Bay Packers, huh? Okay. All right, next game. Come on.
Oh, wait. Listen, is Cordell Patterson in, Marjorie? Is that Marge is dropping Marge bombs? I need to double check on that Cordell Patterson. That could be quite interesting. I thought he was on the IR. Maybe.
Christian Watson is questionable to return in that Giants game.
Yeah, I'll have to double check on that Cordell Patterson.
No Jarvis Landry. No Isaiah McKenzie. Alvin Kamara is officially active now, too.
Yeah. That's good to hear. He's one of my guys this week. All right. Next game on the slate is going to be the number one offense in the National Football League, the Detroit Lions, who are 1-3. They are headed up to Boston to face the New England Patriots. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, I don't understand this. The Patriots are favored by 3 with Bradley Zappi, I think that's his playing quarterback. The over-under is 46.5. Give me the Detroit Lions to cover that spread, and I'm going to take the over 46.5 because the Lions score 35 a game, and their defense gives up, God knows, probably close to 30 a game. So I'm going to go Lions plus the 3, over 46.5.
And Davidson just got carted off in that Giants game. It's interesting that you said the Patriots are favored, right? That's
3
sketchy.
points.
I mean, because their offense has been struggling to score points. I think they got right around like 22 last week or something like that. I'm going to take the Lions in this one outright, man. I think the Lions win this game, and I think they win it comfortably. That offense has been clicking, dealing with some injuries at wide receiver, but I think they'll be able to move that ball no problem.
All right, coming up next is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 2-2. They are 1-point favorites. They are headed to Cleveland. Cleveland's 2-2. The over-under is 47 in this game. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Chargers, -1 all day long. I don't even think this game gets close. I think the Chargers blow the Browns out of the water. I'm going to take the over 47 in this game as well.
Yeah, I think that the Chargers will cover, but I do think it'll be a pretty close game. I think the Browns will hang within a score throughout most of the game. But I'd look for the Chargers to take away late in this one. I'm going to take the over in this one, and I'll take the Chargers to cover.
Up next.
Yeah, go get that first down, Breida.
Yeah, that was a nice one. And the sound guy took a nice little big shout out to the winless Houston Texans. I need you guys to really get it together because I thought you guys were going to get at least 5 wins this season. They are 0-3-1. They're headed to Jacksonville. Jacksonville is 2-2. Jacksonville is a 7-point favorite. You tell me the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars were favored by a touchdown to win a game. I don't think that's happened in the last 10 years. But we're going to go Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. I think the Texans covered, though. I think it's a close game. I'm going to go over the 43.5.
Daniel just showed that ankle looking pretty good on that run. So you're going over the 43.5. I'm taking the Jaguars in this one. I'll take the over as well. The Jaguars seem to be on the up and up. I think some people are a little bit too high on the Jaguars. Colin Cowherd being one of them. He had them in his top 10 power rankings this past week. I disagree with that. But I think that they'll be able to take care of business against the Texans. 7, I want to take the Texans to cover that. I'll take the Texans to cover.
There we go.
I'll take them to cover.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Let's go. Texans cover.
They need a W, man. That tie, that ain't it.
That's definitely not it. They're running out of games here. Up next, The Atlanta Falcons are headed to Tampa Bay. Both teams are 2-2. Tampa Bay is favored by a whopping 10 points. The over-under in this game is 46. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No Julio Jones in this game. So Godwin, though, is a nice play on DraftKings. I'll let everybody know that. He is dirt cheap for his production level. I'm going to go Tampa Bay. That minus 10 is kind of sketchy. I think Atlanta covers the 10 points. I think they lose by 9. And I'm going to take the under 46.
Under 46. I could see it going that way. But I think Tom Brady is trending up right now, especially after last week's performance, man, the 385, 2 touchdowns. I could see it going the way you're saying, but I think the Bucs are going to cover, and I'm going to take the over because if they cover, they'll put up a lot of points in this one. You look for that running game to get clicking. I think Fournette has been struggling a little bit this year. But we'll see what happens in this one. I'm going to take the Bucs to cover, and I'm going to take the over.
Up next is time for Pickett. The Kenny Pickett era has begun officially in Pittsburgh, even though this game is in Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills, 3-1, facing the 1-3 Steelers. The Buffalo Bills are a 14-point favorite. 2 touchdown favorite. The over-under is 45 in this game. I'm going to take Buffalo to win. I'm hoping Pittsburgh make a 13-point game. I mean, 14 points is super difficult in the NFL. I'm going to go Buffalo to win, Pittsburgh to cover, and I'm going to go over 45. I'm going to go over 45.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over as well in this one. I think the Bills are going to be striding in this one. It could very well be an ugly game, and that's the only way that the Steelers will hang around in this one. But I'd look for the Bills to turn up in this one. I think they're going to cover the 14, and I'm going to take the over, man, simply because I need Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen to go way off.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can cover that. 14 points is huge. Up next, the Miami Dolphins, who are 3-1. They're 3.5-point favorites in New York, facing the Zach Attack is back, Jack, and that's a fact. Jets, who are 2-2. Over-under in this game is 45.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take the New York Jets to cover. I took the Jets to win last week, and they showed up and gave that W to the Beard's resume of upset picks. I'm not quite sure I'm ready to pick them to win this game, but I think there definitely is a chance they beat the Dolphins, but I'm going to take the Jets plus the 3.5. I'm going to go under 45. This might be ugly.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under, man. Zach Wilson, I'm not sold. I know you're saying he's back like Mace, but I don't think he's back. And then you got Teddy Bridgewater coming in, who I do think is going to have a good game, but I'm going to take the under simply because he's a backup quarterback. You got to leave that possibility. 14, is that what I'm seeing from Miami? Or 3.5? I thought I saw 14 earlier. Okay, so 3.5. Yeah, I got Miami covering that 3.5. They'll take this victory easy.
Up next is going to be the Chicago Bears, who are 2-2. They're headed to Minnesota. The Vikings are 3-1. Vikings are 7.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 44. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Minnesota 3-1. I'm going to take the Vikings to win this game. They should win this game against that Chicago team. The offense is really bad. I'm expecting Dalvin Cook might go for 200 yards today. Give me the Minnesota Vikings minus the 7.5. I'm going to take the under 44. I can never take an over in a Bears game, I feel like that just doesn't make sense.
I'm right there with you on that. Definitely can't take the over. The Bears offense has been struggling all year long. I'll take the under in this one. I think the Vikings will cover. Dalvin Cook, since wearing that number 4, man, I don't know about that, yo. Like, he ain't been running the ball too crazy lately, but he's due for a big game. And I think Adam Thielen could be a big sleeper in this game, man. I saw a stat that he's been on the field for 92% of the snaps, man. So look for him to get some volume. He had a pretty decent game last week, too.
Saquon Barkley is questionable to return with a shoulder injury.
Matt Breida came in the game. That's unfortunate.
Hopefully that's just like a Dalvin Cook sort of situation with the shoulder, and he should
every year for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, so hopefully that's one of those sort of situations, and they just give it one of those back in place. Although I don't think I could ever do that, ever. Just no, never. But next game on the slate is going to be the Tennessee Titans, who are 2-2. They're coming down here to D.C. to face my Washington Commanders. This is a pick'em game, so the spread is even, and the over-under is going to be 43. Authentic, you tell me you got some good news from my boys.
I got some good news for you. I'm going to take the Commanders in this one. I think that the Titans' pass defense is definitely a liability. And, Carson Wentz was one of my sleepers today. I think he can get off against this pass defense a little bit. They're giving up the 7th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. So as long as y'all can protect Carson Wentz, that's been the biggest issue for y'all. I think y'all right now are looking like one of the worst offensive lines in the entire league. So they got to get that corrected over there. And if they can, I'd look for the passing attack to be able to open up. Give me the Commanders in this one outright.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. I'm also going to take the Commanders. I think this is a must-win game situation for the Commanders. Hopefully they can figure out a way to find a lane to victory. Hopefully Brian Robinson comes out and has a little bit of an impact. I know he's going to be on some sort of snap count at 20, I believe, plays in total. So we'll see how that goes. But give me Washington. I'm going to take the over 43. Go Commanders. Hail to the W, as my boy Paulie would say.
A quick game break, man.
Yes.
That man Daniel Jones is putting his team on his back right now. They did not expect him to come out here and throw the ball like this, and he has definitely been having success. Now you got a banged-up Saquon Barkley. Just got to give Daniel Jones his props right now. And if he could finish this drive right here, this will be major for the Giants.
And major for him, especially moving forward, and not knowing, oh, man, look at that.
Well, you're ahead of me, so don't spoil alert me.
Up next is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, who are 2-2. They are headed down to Nolans. The Saints are 1-3. The Saints at 1-3 are favored by 5 points. The over-under in this game is going to be 45. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think the Saints win this game. They bounce back. Seattle might cover, though. They might backdoor cover, maybe lose by 3 points or something along those lines. New Orleans has been very inconsistent. I am going to take the over 45 in this game, though.
This is going to be my upset pick of the week, man. I like the Seahawks in this one, man. Geno Smith has been playing really good football outside of one game. Good throw, Daniel. And, your boy Rashard Penny's in the backfield, right? So we're going to get another 100 yards, So I'm taking the Seahawks outright, man. I think they'll upset, and I'll take the over in this one.
What do you think the chances of Rashad Penny going back-to-back 100-yard games is?
8%.
8%.
8%.
Rashad Penny goes for 100 yards again today. Total.
Let's get it, man.
We'll see. Up next, San Francisco 49ers, who are 2-2. They're 6.5-point favorites. They headed down to Carolina. The Panthers are 1-3. Panthers look bad. This game has bad written all over it. The over-under is 39.5. Give me the San Francisco 49ers. Give me this 49ers to cover. I'm actually going to go over the... no, I'm not. No, I'm going to go over 30. Nope, I'm going to go under 39.5. Under. That seems stupid, but I'm going to take the under.
I'm going to take the over in this one. Baker is fighting for his job right now. A couple more losses, they're gonna put him on that bench, man. And the 49ers are an inconsistent team. They've done some things offensively. You saw Deebo Samuel get back to his true form kind of last week. I like what Brandon Ayuk brings to that offense, but they've just been inconsistent. I'll take the 49ers to win it, and I think they will cover it. I'll take the over in this one. I think it'll be about a touchdown game. 49ers get the victory.
All right, up next, the Philadelphia Eagles, the lone undefeated team in the National Football League. They are 4-0. They're 5-point favorites, headed to Arizona. The Cardinals are 2-2. Over-under is 49. Kickoff is 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles minus the 5 and the over 49.
I'm right there with you, man. Give me the Eagles in this game. Cardinals defense been struggling all year long. I do think it'll be a battle of two, quarterbacks that we're going to see for a long time here. And I think Kyler Murray's going to put up some numbers today as far as fantasy goes. But I think the Eagles take this victory, and I think they'll handle the Cardinals. I think they'll beat them by at least 10.
Up next, moving from one NFC East team to another, the Dallas Cowboys are 3-1. They're headed to LA to face the Rams, who are not 4-0, but
Saquon's on his way to the locker room.
Oh man, the Rams are 5.5-point favorites in this game. Over under is 42.5. Give me the Rams to win. I don't think they cover the 5.5. I think Dallas finds a way to make this game close. I am going to take the over 42.5, though.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over 42.5 as well. I think the Cowboys are going to win this game, though. I think they're the better team. I like what I've been seeing out of Cooper Rush so far, getting rid of the ball really quickly. And you're looking at the Rams, who have been struggling offensively, haven't really been able to find a role for Allen Robinson so far this year. The goal here for the Cowboys is stop Cooper Kupp. I think Cam Akers has also been a bit of a letdown. Got another giant down on the field right now. But I'm going to take the Cowboys to win this one outright.
Up next, Sunday Night Football, divisional matchup. This should be a great game. Cincinnati Bengals 2-2, headed to Baltimore. Baltimore's 2-2. The Ravens are 3.5-point favorites. The over/under is 47.5. This sounds like it's going to be a good Sunday Night Football game. It's always good when you can round out the day of football with a good matchup. This one is the toughest game for me to pick on the slate. I think both of these teams are really good. Both of these teams need a win. They don't want to go to 2-3, especially against a divisional opponent. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game, and I'm going to take the over 47.5.
I think that you're slowly but surely becoming a Bengals as your secondary team. I notice you root for the Bengals a lot.
I mean, I like underdogs.
Yeah, are they an underdog? They were just in the damn Super Bowl.
Yeah, nobody thought they were going to make it there except for me. So
it's 2022 now. I'm taking the Ravens, man.
I love Lamar Jackson. I like the Ravens team, but their defense worries me right now. It really does. Yeah. And I just think that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase might just be a bit too much. Like, there comes a point where Lamar Jackson can't do it all by himself. As much as he can.
He's had some decent help from the youth and the wide receiver department. I mean, Duvernay has just been a play. Duvernay reminds me on the slants of Odell Beckham, the way he can take that slant. He's got to work on everything else within his game, but I'm definitely a big fan of Duvernay. I like what the Ravens offense presents, especially with Andrews at tight end. I mean, you got the number one tight end pretty much in the whole entire NFL outside of Kelsey. I'm taking the Ravens, man. I think this is going to be a close game. I think it'll be about a 4-point game. Joe Burrow driving late to try to put the game on ice, and he'll fall short.
So the chat says that Awthentik has jumped the beard in the personal standings. Yeah, Duvernay is a Texas product. I invested heavily. I thought Devin Duvernay was going to be a stud, so I got some.
Simon right about this too.
Yeah,
some with them Texans too. You always look for a lane. Like, I think they'll be able to backdoor win it like this.
All right, Monday Night Football, and then we'll get you guys off to fourth quarter action for the New York Giants and Green Bay Packers.
10 minutes left in that game.
Las Vegas Raiders are 1-3. They're headed to Kansas City. Kansas City's 3-1. They're 7-point favorites. The over/under in this game is 51.5. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
I'm looking at Daniel Jones throw the ball away on first and goal here. But Raiders, Chiefs, I mean, I got to go Chiefs in this one, man. Raiders just got their first win last week. I'd look for the Chiefs to come out here, man. Prime time, y'all know how Patrick Mahomes like to do prime time. He like to turn way up. I saw this dude pretty much tear his ACL in a primetime game and then came back the next week like it didn't even happen. So I'm taking the Chiefs 1,000% in this game. I think the Raiders put up a decent fight. That's 7. I think it'll be right there. I think it'll literally be right there. Chiefs probably win this game by 10 points. I'm going to take the Chiefs, and I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win, but I think the Raiders cover in this game, and I'm also going to take the over 51.5. This should be an interesting game. I think the Raiders. Yeah. I didn't want to jump the gun. I wanted Awthentik to do it first.
Let's go. We got a tie ball game, man. Let's go.
Huge play for the New York Giants. This game is a lot closer than I think most people anticipated. So, except for obviously Awthentik and New York Giant Nation.
That 23-20 still intact. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is.
I'm also going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. I can take the over. I think the Raiders do cover though. So that is it. Rapid fire is over. I managed to get Awthentik through this about 9 minutes over his insanely requested
that request was not insane, man. That request is legitimate, man. All that, slow pacing. We got a game to watch here, man. New York Giants tied up 2020.
We do. So shout out to Awthentik. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Giants Nation. Shout out to the Commanders. Shout out to Kai and 001 and his Cowboys. Shout out to everybody who came and rocked with us this morning. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys can win some fantasy football matchups. Your home team can win. You can win some money on some bets. That's what we're all about here. Make sure you guys tune in. Monday is going to be quite the interesting Giant overreaction with Awthentik. I'm always excited to see those, especially after a big game in London. And I think that's about it. We're going to let Awthentik take you guys out and enjoy the rest of this game.
We're going to keep it nice and short for the ending of this show. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Get your 20% off with Manscaped using the code AATB. Get your 20% off and worldwide shipping. I'm not pulling up the read here because we got a game to get to. We got about 9 minutes left. But shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring Awthentik and The Beard, the best division in football, the parlay, the giant overreaction, the preview, the recap. Let's go out here and get this dub, New York Giants. And hopefully the Washington Commanders can get that win too and get back in that W column. Y'all know what it is, man. Hey, we got to raise that bar right now, New York. That's what we got to do.
Right now, literally.
We got to live that dream right now, New York. We got to go out here and get this dub. I'm going to jump into Entertainers Chat with Bad Dog. I'll be in there if y'all want to go over there and raid and say you was rocking with Awthentik and The Beard and you here to show some love. Y'all know what it is, man. Keep living those dreams. Keep raising that bar. The universe flows in Technicolor, as my man Combat Jack says. Don't be out here on your black and white vibes. Y'all know what it is, man. We will see y'all on the Giant Overreaction on Monday, and we will see you for an in-depth recap on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. We appreciate all of y'all rocking with us. We know the game is popping right now. A bunch of streams popping right now. Big love. Let's go, Giants.
Peace.